Hello, cloud gurus. Before we jump into anything, it's always important to have a little perspective. And I promise you, I won't bore you with a crazy long history lesson. But what I want you to know is where this Kubernetes thing came from and how did we get from there to today. The Kubernetes timeline starts back in 2003, about 16 years ago at the time of this recording, with something called Borg. Now, if you haven't heard of Borg, then you haven't watched much Star Trek: The Next Generation. The Borg were an advanced alien race that was set on controlling the universe and assimilating the human race to turn them into minions of the collective. And the goal of the Borg was to achieve perfection. So why am I telling you this? Well, if you've used Google Search, Gmail, and Google Docs, then you've benefited from Google's Project Borg. It was aptly named Borg because it controlled hundreds of thousands of containers that ran on minion nodes and was always trying to achieve perfection. However, that perfection was defined by the Google engineers. Now, Borg evolved and improved between 2003 and 2013 into something called Omega. And at that time, Google wrote a white paper on it and introduced it to the public. Then in 2014, Google chose to open source a spin-off of Borg and Omega's internal cluster management system. Initially, that project was called 7 of 9 in reference to the Borg that joined the crew of the Star Trek Voyager. When officially open source, the project became Kubernetes. And as I said, Kubernetes is Greek for helmsman or pilot of a ship. And that's apropos because it is the pilot of your containers and your cluster that it orchestrates. So if you look at the Kubernetes logo, you'll see that the ship's wheel in the logo has 7 sides in reference to 7 of 9, the Borg from Star Trek. Then in 2015, version 1.0 of Kubernetes was released, and along with the Linux Foundation, Google created the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, also known as the CNCF. At that point, many companies joined that ecosystem, and the inaugural KubeCon, or Kubernetes Conference, was held. After that, Kubernetes has had one release and one advancement after another. For example, in 2016, Kubernetes went mainstream with many production features, including custom resource definitions, storage improvements, and Windows Server support. Around 2016, Minikube, which is used to bring up small Kubernetes environments, was also released. In fact, we'll be spending a fair amount of time in this course using Minikube. And then, in 2017, a number of new advancements were made. Amazon and Microsoft both announced their own managed Kubernetes service, Oracle joined the CNCF, Docker announced support for Kubernetes, and more. And then in 2018, Google Kubernetes Engine was released, Amazon EKS, or their enterprise container service, was made generally available, and so was Microsoft's AKS, or Azure Kubernetes Service. That same year, Containerd, which is the container daemon, became generally available, and it fully supported Kubernetes. That same year, Kubernetes version 1.10, 1.11, and 1.12 were also released. And what's amazing is that by 2018, more than 50% of the Fortune 100 companies are using Kubernetes as their container orchestration platform. Fast forward to 2019, the year that this course was created, and versions 1.12 through 1.15 roughly have been released, with KubeAdmin, which is the Kubernetes administrative tool, in general availability. The Container Storage Interface, or CSI, is now GA, and there's support for Windows nodes as part of a Kubernetes cluster. I'm excited to say that the adoption and the advancements continue to skyrocket forward. So it's a great time to be learning Kubernetes. And now that you know where Kubernetes came from, let's learn exactly how Kubernetes is architected. I'll see you in the next lecture.